On a freezing Christmas Eve night, the city streets glistened under soft layers of snow, their silence broken only by the occasional sound of footsteps or the distant ringing of church bells. The world was preparing to celebrate a holiday of joy, love, and togetherness. Families were gathering by fireplaces, children were unwrapping early presents, and the smell of cinnamon, hot chocolate, and roasted turkey filled countless homes. Yet, not everyone had such warmth waiting for them. Ethan Carter, a successful young CEO, drove through the near-empty streets in his sleek black car. To many, he was the image of a man who had everything: wealth, influence, a luxurious home, and the respect of his peers. But what the world didn't see was the emptiness in his heart. Ethan was a single father raising his little daughter, Lily, after the tragic loss of his wife 3 years earlier. While he did everything he could to provide the best for Lily, Christmas had never been the same since his wife passed away. Every holiday reminded him of what was missing, of the family picture that would never be whole again. As he drove home that night, tired from an exhausting charity gala where he had donated generously but still felt unfulfilled, something unusual caught his eye. In the corner of a quiet alley, illuminated faintly by a flickering streetlight, he noticed a small figure curled up on top of flattened cardboard boxes. Ethan slowed down, unsure if his eyes were playing tricks on him. He pulled over and stepped out into the biting cold, his shoes crunching against the snow. There, shivering beneath a tattered blanket, lay a little girl no older than 7. Her hair was messy, her clothes thin and worn, and her tiny frame trembled against the harsh winter chill. Ethan's heart clenched. She was asleep, her face pale, her lips quivering with each breath. Beside her was a broken doll missing an arm, as if it were the only treasure she had in the world. Ethan crouched down, his voice soft but urgent. "Sweetheart, are you okay?" The little girl stirred, her eyelids fluttering open. Startled, she tried to sit up and move away, clutching her doll protectively. Her eyes were wide, filled with both fear and sadness. "Don't be afraid," Ethan said gently, raising his hands to show he meant no harm. "It's freezing out here. Where are your parents?" The girl shook her head, her voice barely a whisper. I don't have anyone." The words hit Ethan like a blow to the chest. No one. On Christmas Eve, he looked around the alley, hoping maybe someone else was nearby, but there was only silence. Snow continued to fall softly around them, making the scene look almost surreal. "Come with me," Ethan said after a moment. "You can't stay out here in this cold. You'll get sick, or worse." The girl hesitated, her eyes studying him carefully, as if trying to decide whether to trust this stranger. Ethan took off his long coat and draped it around her tiny body. The warmth made her relax just a little, and finally, she nodded. He carried her gently to his car, placing her in the backseat where the heater quickly wrapped her in comfort. She clutched her doll tightly, never letting go. On the way home, Ethan kept glancing at her through the rearview mirror. "What's your name, sweetheart?" She looked up at him timidly. Emma, a name so simple, yet it carried with it an untold story of hardship and survival. Ethan's mind swirled with questions, but he didn't press her too hard. For now, the most important thing was to make sure she was safe. When they reached his home, a warm and lavish house decorated with Christmas lights, Ethan carried Emma inside. The moment they entered, Lily, his daughter, came running from the living room, her eyes widening at the sight of another child in her father's arms. "Daddy, who is she?" Lily asked, curiosity sparking in her voice. Ethan smiled softly. "This is Emma. She's going to stay with us tonight, where it's warm and safe." Lily, always gentle and full of compassion, immediately took Emma's hand. "Come on, you can sit by the fire with me. We were just about to have cookies and hot cocoa." For the first time, Emma's lips curled into a small smile. It was faint, hesitant, but real. That night, Ethan watched as the two little girls sat together, sipping hot chocolate and giggling softly. Emma's guarded expression slowly began to fade, replaced with something he hadn't seen when he found her: hope. When it was time to sleep, Lily insisted Emma share her room. Ethan tucked them in, his heart heavy yet strangely lighter at the same time. As he stood by the door, watching them drift off to sleep, his mind returned to the words Emma had whispered in the alley: "I don't have anyone." He knew he couldn't just return her to the streets. He needed to find out what had happened, why she was alone. The next morning, Christmas Day, Ethan made a few calls. With his resources and connections, he reached out to local authorities and orphanages, trying to uncover Emma's past. Slowly, a heartbreaking story emerged. Emma had been in and out of foster homes after her mother passed away. Her father was never in the picture. Some families tried to take her in, but it never lasted. She had finally run away from a foster home where she felt unwanted, choosing the streets over rejection. Ethan's chest tightened as he listened. No child deserved such a fate, especially not on Christmas. He looked at Emma, who was sitting by the tree with Lily, her eyes sparkling with wonder as she gazed at the ornaments. It was as if she had never truly experienced the magic of the holiday before. Something inside Ethan shifted that day. For years, he had felt that Christmas had lost its meaning. But watching Emma smile as she opened a small gift Lily had wrapped for her, he realized the true essence of the holiday wasn't about what he had lost, it was about what he could give. Love, safety, family. Days turned into weeks, and Emma stayed with Ethan and Lily. Their home, once filled with a quiet emptiness, now echoed with laughter. Lily treated Emma like a sister, and Emma, in turn, blossomed in the warmth of their care. Ethan began legal procedures to foster her, and eventually, to adopt her. It wasn't always easy. There were moments when Emma's past fears resurfaced, when she worried she might be abandoned again. But Ethan was patient. He held her hand through the tears, reminded her every day that she was loved, and proved to her that she finally had a place where she belonged. Months later, on another snowy evening, Ethan stood in the living room as Emma and Lily decorated the Christmas tree together. The fire crackled in the background, casting a golden glow across their smiling faces. Emma hung a small ornament shaped like an angel, one Lily had given her as a symbol of their bond. "Daddy," Lily said, turning to him with a grin, "isn't our family perfect now?" Ethan's throat tightened with emotion. He pulled both girls into his arms, holding them close. "Yes," he whispered, his voice thick with gratitude. "Our family is perfect." Emma looked up at him, her eyes brimming with tears, but this time, they weren't tears of sadness. They were tears of belonging. For Ethan, that Christmas wasn't just about gifts or decorations. It was about rediscovering the true meaning of love, family, and hope. He had gone out that night as a man weighed down by grief and loneliness, but fate had placed a little girl in his path who not only needed saving, but who also saved him. Christmas Eve had begun with sorrow and coldness, but it ended with a miracle, the kind of miracle that reminded him that sometimes, the greatest gifts are the ones we never expect. And in finding Emma, Ethan had found a piece of his own heart he thought was lost forever.